Hi and happy new year and welcome along to our first AFTV uh, Transfer Daily. It's back and yeah, I'm here to torment you again, once again for this month to give you all the latest Arsenal transfer rumours. Happy New Year, as I said, to each and everybody. I hope you didn't have too hard a night and you haven't woken up with too sore a head. The transfer window, as a matter of fact, doesn't actually open until tomorrow. That's when the transfer window actually opens. So from January the 2nd this year, and then I think it finishes on the 1st of February. But I thought, listen, let's just dive into it. It's the start of the month, and the rumours are already flying around all over the place. And one of the most interesting things about Arsenal this month is that they're looking to get their business done early. Obviously, for me, they had to, because they've got so many injuries at the moment to so many key players, especially in that midfield area. Of course, we're missing Santi Cazorla. We got the rumours confirmed the other day by Arsene Wenger that Jack Wilshere's going to be out longer than expected. Danny Welbeck's out. So business needs to be done early if, we're going to push on and try and win the league this year. One of the main targets Arsenal have been looking for is a holding midfielder, and it looks almost certain that they've got their man, and that man at the moment looks like being Mohamed Elneny. Elneny, of course, 23 years of age, plays for A.F.C. Basel at the moment, defensive midfielder. Also, well, it's kind of split. Some people are saying, defensive midfielder. Other people are saying more of a classic sort of box-to-box midfielder who gets up and down the pitch. He's an Egyptian international. And you know what? All the reports that I've read on this guy, I'm not going to admit that I knew a lot about him before we were linked with him. But all of the reports that I've heard about this guy are very good. He's got a great engine on him. He's up and down the pitch. And it's looking like a classic Arsene Wenger signing, isn't it? Somebody that people don't know that much about, but then can come in and do a great job. And we definitely need cover in that area, even though guys like Matthew Flamini has come in, he's done really well. But of course, Francis Coquelin being out is a massive miss. And Flamini, as we saw over the Christmas period, he can't do it week in, week out. He's a player that's getting older now, 31 years of age. You need a young, energetic player in that position. And by bringing this guy in early, it should be a good move by Arsenal, because it's covering that area. He's young enough to develop himself into that position. £7 million, not too bad. That's a decent price. And a lot of the other targets that we've been linked with, like guys like Wanyama, that I understand that Arsenal really, really interested in. Wanyama's going to cost like over 20 odd million pounds, and Southampton are actually saying that, listen, we're not selling Wanyama. No way are we letting go of Wanyama in January. You can come back and see us in the summer, but not in January. And this is going to be the difficulty as well. In January, Premier League clubs, for instance, have got a lot of money coming their way at the end of the year. So they don't need to sell at the moment. Their main priority is to make sure that if they're a struggling club, they stay up. If they're a club in the mid-table, that they push as high up that table as possible. And if they've got players that they know are talented enough to get them there, they're going to keep hold of them. Interesting thing on the Mohamed Elneny thing is that a lot of people are saying that he's already done his medical. Apparently he did his medical yesterday and he's passed his medical, so he's fine. However, the sticking point at the moment is the work permit. Now, when I first read this, I was thinking, the work permit, the guy's like played for Egypt, like he's a regular player for Egypt over the past couple of years. He should just walk in. But they've changed the work permit rules now, where you have to be in the top 50 clubs in the world to automatically get a work permit to play in the Premier League. And Egypt are actually number 57. So because he's outside that, Arsenal are going to have to do an appeal on the work permit. Should still be a formality. They should still get that. But they're going to have to do an appeal on it to get the Mohamed Elneny over the line. I would have thought that this deal should get sewn up within the next couple of days. And Elneny, I'm sure Arsene Wenger will be wanting to get him in the team, in the squad, ahead of the FA Cup game next week against Sunderland, where he can then give him his debut and start assimilate him into the team. But people that I've spoken to around the club said it's a definite deal. Mohamed Elneny is going to be Arsenal's first signing of the January transfer window. And at least it's a signing. At least we're going to get somebody, right? The other player that we've been linked to in a similar position is this guy, Adrien Rabiot. Now, if you've been watching Transfer Daily throughout the summer, you would have realised that I mentioned this guy many, many times. He's 20 years of age, plays for Paris Saint-Germain, valued at about £15 million. Now, French publication Buzz suggesting that Arsenal could swoop for this box-to-box midfielder. And, listen, it would make no harm to bring him in. I mean, he's been playing pretty well apparently for Paris Saint-Germain, but the thing is about it is that apparently Laurent Blanc has been very, very unhappy, very unhappy with him. And listen, I don't think this would be too bad a signing because again, he's only 20 years of age. He's one of the top prospects in France, and as a long-term investment, you've got to look at our midfield at the moment and say that there's lots of players in that midfield that are aging players. Arteta, of course, Flamini, even Santi Cazorla, he's into his 30s now. Rabiot may not be a bad signing. Would Arsenal make two midfielders in that area this January transfer window? I'm not sure, but listen, everything that I've seen about this guy, everything I've watched about this guy, he looks a really, really good player. And for £15 million for another box-to-box midfielder, considering the amount of injuries we get, it may not be a bad shout. I suppose the only thing you've got to worry about this kid is that he seems that if he doesn't get playing, he seems to really, make a lot of noise about it. And, Paris Saint-Germain, that's why a lot of the fans, even recently in a recent game, he was getting booed by his own fans because they were unhappy with the fact that, he's there, complaining about not getting game time and wanting to leave and stuff like that. So that would be the only worry. But Arsenal linked with Adrien Rabiot, as they've also been linked with this guy as well today, Lorenzo Insigne. 24 years of age, plays for Napoli, a very, very good player. He scored 8 goals this term in 20 appearances. His agent, and I think this is how the rumours are sort of started, his agent has come out and said, we're delighted in the interests of PSG and Arsenal. Hence all the publications jump on it, Arsenal trying to buy Insigne. I don't think this is a deal that could happen in the January transfer window. This guy's an absolute hero at Napoli. If the Napoli president sold him, you know what those ultras are like over there, they'd be looking to string him up. So I don't think there's any way he's going to be sold in January. If anything, this could be one maybe that Arsenal might look at in the summer. But for me, at the moment, this one's a bit of paper talk. Can't see Insigne coming to Arsenal. This player, though, has been linked heavily with Arsenal. A typical Arsenal finger signing again. You're looking at him and you're thinking, who's he? Who's he? He plays for Leicester. And you're still thinking, who's he? No, I ain't seen him at Leicester. Excuse me. His name is Ben Chilwell. He does play for Leicester, but he's actually on loan at the moment to Huddersfield. And he's a left back, 19 years of age. Arsenal already tried to sign him in the summer. And apparently they put in a 3.5 million bid for him. It was turned down. Lots of clubs interested in this kid, so he must be pretty talented. Manchester United are after him. Liverpool are after him. Arsenal apparently the favourites to sign him. So again, the left back position, I think Arsenal again thinking ahead. Listen, I think with a lot of clubs nowadays, if there's a talented player out there, they're getting in. Even sometimes, even if they can't even accommodate that player, they're looking to get in and get that player. That's just how it is at the moment. And Ben Chilwell, probably if Arsenal do sign him, they wouldn't bring him back off of that loan move. They'd let him continue out on loan at Huddersfield, continue to learn his trade with a hope to be bringing him in later on. Because, of course, even when you look at Monreal, close to his 30s. So long-term, maybe a replacement for him and Gibbs. But strong rumours about this Ben Chilwell thing. a rumor that could happen. An interesting rumor that was floating around over the past couple of days was this one where Alexis Sanchez apparently been urging Arsene Wenger to sign this guy. And that guy, of course, is Javier Hernandez. And very interesting because, you know what, last week I was talking to some mates and I was saying, you know what, if I was Arsene Wenger, I'd go out and buy Javier Hernandez. And they were all saying, what? And I was saying, listen, look at his goal scoring record in the Bundesliga. I mean, he's just been voted Bundesliga Player of the Month. I think he's picked that up a couple of times. He scored 17 goals in 23 appearances. How stupid were Man United to let this guy go? I mean, he's a quality player, right? Even when he used to come off at the bench at Manchester United, he scored goals. Still only 27. Bayer Leverkusen paid 7.3 million for him. That's all. Manchester United struggling to score goals, paying £35 million for Anthony Martial, and they got this goal-scoring machine. For me, I mean, listen, I think it'd be a long shot to get Leverkusen to sell him. Maybe they could cash in, I suppose, if they sold him for mega money, but he's been doing so well. Would they want to let him go? But I don't know. There were suggestions that if Arsenal put in a bid of, say, 20 million, it could be possible. And for me, he's worth that. And I think if you brought him into that Arsenal team, he would get lots of goals. He's the sort of player that could help to get Arsenal over the line and win the Premier League. And for me, you know, Alexis Sanchez suggesting that, I can fully understand it, because for me, that'd be a great shout to bring him in. But seems unlikely that Leverkusen, still in the Champions League, of course, remember, are going to want to let him go because he is their main man at the moment. But as I said, how stupid were Man United? Some of these clubs, you know what? You look at some of the clubs, what they've done. Chelsea letting go Lukaku, you know, and now they're struggling for goals. You know, United struggling for goals, they let go Chicharito. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Talking about players who may be on the move, Matthew Debuchy, we've seen these rumours flying around that Debuchy wants out of Arsenal. There's been some Arsenal fans who've been slating him and saying, you know, get your head down. Listen, listen, as a professional footballer, I can understand in a way where Debuchy's coming from. There's a Euros this end of season that's being played in France, which of course is his home country. He wants to play in those Euros. He's getting old. He's in his 30s now. He was the number one in that right back position. He's now can't even get into the Arsenal team, can't get ahead of Bellerin. Bellerin is the number one right back at the club. He knows that. He knows he's not going to get past Bellerin unless Bellerin gets injured. He wants to get into that French team. He sees Bakary Sagna, who was like one of his main rivals. Last season was on the bench. He's now playing week in, week out. And he's thinking, how am I going to burst myself into the French team? I need to be playing regular football. And I think there's a good chance that he may go out on loan before the end of the transfer window. I think the only way he may remain is if something was to happen to Bellerin. And it's a bit of a shame for me, because I thought Debuchy, when he first came in at Arsenal, was a real quality player. He was doing really well, and then he's had such bad luck with injuries. I mean, who can forget that injury last season when he got pushed into the hoardings? That again knocked him out again for several months. He's a quality player. He wants to get into that French team. I really do understand where he's coming from. But can Arsenal afford to let him go? That's the other thing as well. With that injury situation, you know, we could put Callum Chambers in there, but for me, Callum Chambers is not as good at right back as Debuchy is. And if we want to win the league, to be honest, Debuchy, we understand what you want to go in that, but you need to stay. You need to stay, because we need the squad to get us all the way. We've got Champions League games, we've got FA Cup games. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. My instinct's starting to tell me that Debuchy will go by the end of January. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, even Arsene Wenger, when he was asked about it, he wasn't denying it. So it's definitely a strong possibility. There's also rumours that David Ospina may go as well in January. Now, again, for me, I understand why he'd want to go, because he wants to play regular first-team football. He's got no chance of getting in ahead of Petr Cech. But for me, Arsenal should not get rid of David Ospina. He's a quality backup keeper. We know our injury records. If anything was to happen, we need a quality backup keeper. All right, I've heard the rumours that Szczesny may come back. If Szczesny came back early off of his loan move to Roma, I suppose then, yes, it would make sense. But if Szczesny's not coming back, then we must keep hold of David Ospina as far as I'm concerned, because we've got a strong chance of winning the title. And why weaken the team in any possible way? So for me, David Ospina has to stay. No brainer for me. He has to stay. Definitely has to stay. Finally, a player that is on his way back to Arsenal off of a loan move is Isaac Hayden, defensive midfielder, remember? He's been up there at Hull. He's gone on a season-long loan, and he's only made 13 appearances. Apparently, by mutual consent, he's returning to Arsenal. He just can't burst his way into that team at the moment. Hull doing very well at the moment, by the way, at the top end of the Championships. But he just can't burst his way into the team, and he's come back. Whether it's going to be interesting, this one. I was impressed with Isaac Hayden when I saw him playing for Arsenal. Will Arsenal keep him until the end of the season as backup in that defensive mid position, or will they send him out on a further loan? I get the feeling that he may come back and then go back out again on loan if they're bringing in Elneny. But be interesting to see what happens with him, but it hasn't quite worked out for him at Hull City. So there's your first roundup. Of course, as I said, the window actually opens from tomorrow, January the 2nd. We're going to be here every day of the January transfer window. But you know what? Already there's a bit of a change, because it looks like we are signing an outfield player. So that'll be one signing. Who else are we going to sign? That is the thing. Who else will Arsenal sign? Arsene Wenger said he's going to be busy. He said that in the summer, though, didn't he? So he's going to be busy. He said if there's quality out there, he'll bring it in. He said that in the summer as well, right? So at least I won't be talking about Benzema every day, right? Because it looks like we're definitely not moving for Benzema, especially with all the troubles that he's been having recently. So listen, keep it locked in here. Don't forget to subscribe here to Arsenal Fan TV. We are here every single day of the January transfer window. We'll come to you earlier in the days. Listen, it's New Year's Eve last night, mate. So, you know, I've got to recover and get up to do this. But we'll be coming to you early every day. We'll be keeping you up to date with all the transfer rumours. And then, of course, on the last day of the transfer window, we'll be down there at the Emirates getting the reaction from the fans and seeing who we've signed. And do you know what? This is an important transfer window. If Arsene Wenger gets this right, gets the right signings in, we could push on and win the league. What I'd like you to leave in the comments is who you think Arsenal should sign. I'll go through a load of your comments, and I'll pick out some of the best ones to read out on tomorrow's show. And remember, this is an interactive show, so leave your comments. I will go through as many of them as possible each and every day, try and answer a lot of them. And also, I'll try and read out loads of them to let people know what you guys are thinking, because this is your show. So leave your comments below. Let us know, who do you think Arsenal should sign? Should we go after William Carvalho again as a defensive midfielder? You know, should we be making those sort of moves for those sort of players? Is there a big money signing that Aubameyang at Dortmund? I know it sounds impossible to get a player like that who's absolutely on fire at the moment and banging in the goals at Dortmund, but should we go in and make a crazy £50 million offer for him? Leave your comments below and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching AFTV Transfer Daily, and we'll be back tomorrow. And I want to wish everybody a happy new year.